and gentlemen, it's that time again where we get to view some beautiful houses from across the state of Kerala and then decide out of these which gets to become Idea Dream Home Season 3. Welcome to the show. Along with welcoming my wonderful viewers, I also take immense pleasure in welcoming my experts in the field of architecture as well. Joining me is architect T.G. Ramesh from Ramesh Group Architects here in Statue, Trivandrum. We also have from Building Concepts Kollam, architect Shaina Rajesh, and of course, architect Ruben Koshi from Studio 5 here in Trivandrum as well. They've all passed out from leading engineering colleges in the state and now for many years have been very successful in the field of architecture, building beautiful homes and making people's dreams come true. Now, it's a very difficult job that we've set out for you three to find the best house from all the applications that come in. But just, you know, we've got parameters laid out. Just relax and be honest. That's all we want you to be. Okay, so let's get started. Today, we've got a very interesting house on display. It's called Panache. So the name itself means elegant and stylish. But will it live up to the name? Let's watch and see. Take a look. And now we need to find out what our judges say about the first parameter, exteriors of the house, which constitutes with 30 marks. For a change, I'll start with you, Shaina. What is your initial impression?
I really like the linearity of the building. There are a lot of vertical and horizontal lines created, which lend it it stretched the building a little. It increased the height a bit. So it's all visual optical illusion. and I got a Mediterranean feel looking at the house. The color, the cool blue, gave it a very cool effect. I mean, the background you could see, I think a new construction was going on, and the background, there were not many trees around, so it added to the feeling that it was quite near the sea. It like
very airy.
Very airy, yeah. And the thing, it was a corner plot, and we could see it had elevation on two sides, and both the sides were treated very well. The massing of the components were very well carried out. It added to the beauty of the house, but maintaining its simplicity. Then again, the handrails which they had given were again another linear pattern that again enhanced the linearity of the building. Landscape wise, I think not much scope for landscape was there, because on either side the roads were and I think just the bare minimum setbacks has been given with minimal landscape. So other than that, the building as a whole, including the compound wall and the gate, added to a total elegant structure.
You liked it. Ruben?
Yeah, same with me for the elevation. I think the thing that stands out first, even more than the actual form, is probably the color used. It's a shade of blue, and along with that, non-traditional forms. Just generally speaking, you have very cubist kind of squares and blocks and that kind of form with grills placed at strategic areas, so gives you that feeling of puncture and lightness wherever it is required. And you don't see a general thing like a sunshade sticking out anywhere, not normally. So that's all taken care of. It's treated well. Grooves are given to heighten the linearity. Very nice. But personally, probably I would have preferred a little more warm shades instead of the cool shades like blue.
Yeah.
More like even greens and yellows, oranges, warm tones as compared to the blue. But definitely a standout in terms of the color used and the form as such.
Okay, and Rameshji?
It's a corner plot, and the use of linear lines actually has magnified an optical illusion has created, and the building is looking bigger than actually it is.
Okay.
So that's something good the architect thought and did it like that. And same thing that there's no sunshades, no conventional elevation, and it's difficult to treat two sides in the same way when it's a corner plot, and that also the architect has done justice to the elevation and the forming and the massing, the proportion, everything has worked out well.
So everyone's quite satisfied with the first set. Now let's find out whether the marks satisfy you guys. Ruben, on 30?
23.
Shaina?
22.
And finally, Rameshji?
24.
24. Okay, so now stepping in, we need to move to planning. Rameshji?
Planning aspect, as soon as we enter, we have nothing special like what we see from the outside. That measure we are not getting on the inside.
Okay.
Inside we are just not we are seeing a mediocre house, and even I think the kitchen also, lot of spaces are wasted in the kitchen. I think I don't know why the lot of spaces in between which there is no counter, there is nothing, is lying barren. So lot of I think inside the input which was there for the outside, I didn't find it anywhere on the inside. Same thing with the bedrooms also. Hardly the bedrooms are placed in beds are placed in a haphazard way. Even the furnitures, all the furnitures were done in a not in a planned manner.
The placement was not
planned manner.
Okay.
And bed also without any side tables, and so something missing in whatever we found from the expected from the outside is missing in the inside.
Okay, how about you, Shaina?
See, Ranjini, this is yet another example of how a house, how most of the people believe in exteriors and not the interiors.
True.
But I would like to tell them, like, interiors is the more important than exteriors, because exteriors you just look at it and then you are living in the interiors.
Correct.
So interiors has to be given equal or more importance than the exteriors, because we expected a lot from the exteriors, but as soon as you enter, you are disappointed, because most of the things, spaces might have been provided for each and every utility, but they have not been utilized well, either in terms of furniture or in terms of like massing of the utilities. They haven't been done well. I think only in the bedrooms the cabinets have been given. The bedrooms were small, very small, and the cabinets have been given recessed, and I think other than that, toilets also, the planning is not proper, because the dry area, wet area segregation is completely miscalculated there. It's not been, the toilets were not that small, so they had ample space to do the planning properly, but it hasn't been done. maybe I think the architect didn't lend his service to that end, I mean to the interior, where the interiors were concerned. I think they should have given more emphasis on the interiors.
How about you, where planning is concerned, Ruben?
Yeah, strictly where planning is concerned, actually, if you look at basic parameters like light, ventilation, definitely no issues. But you start looking into each of these rooms. Correct. For example, you take the living room. You enter into the living room. You have whatever furniture you have placed towards the further end, and the front end is bare. Same thing with the kitchen. You have a C-shaped kitchen counter at the further end, but the front, I really don't understand that. So the planning point of view, like the flow of rooms, connectivity, etc., may be okay. But if you take rooms, the next level is the rooms as such. That is not worked out well. Same with the toilets, like Shaina was saying. The wet area, dry area is one aspect. Even a simple thing of a wash basin, it has to be placed in the right direction. I mean, there is no point in going around the wash basin to wash your hands where you could have just stepped in when you enter. No, that kind of thing. These are smaller things, but I think those are very important in the second level of planning. You first plan your rooms, but then when you plan the activity,
functionality,
each of the rooms, this is what's lacking.
Okay.
So, and then for example, you had a wash which is separated by a very flimsy looking partition. Now, these are things that you want to avoid. At least try and make it look as much built into the partition. Don't make it look that flimsy. Try and make it look like it is intentional, made for the area. Those are things that didn't work well with this house.
Okay, so planning, I'm kind of curious to know where it scores here. Ruben?
20.
20 from Ruben. Ramesh?
19.
19, and finally Shaina?
20.
20. Okay, Ini, we've already heard in the planning segment that the furniture might not have enhanced this house in any way. So I'm expecting the same. Interiors, Ruben?
Yeah, like Dev had mentioned earlier, I think the interior is very bare. Bare is an understatement actually here, because it's like, I don't know, it looks like a new house. Maybe they haven't shifted in completely, but the walls, for example, look very bare. It's too clinically bare. Sometimes people label a bare house like a minimalistic, but this is not that either. No. It needs a little more homely touch. Some of the things, but positive things that I like is a woodwork which is painted white, doors and windows, looks nice. It's pleasing, but you got to continue that theme. You don't want the woodwork, doors and windows to be painted, and then your beds to be polished really deep, and then your cupboards are again white. So then the beds stand out. You don't need that kind of contrast in such a theme, my feeling. Same with the toilets. See, the toilets, very expensive fittings have been used. Even the tiling, the tiles are used, are nice, but they have not been tiled in a good pattern. I mean, for a new house, you don't see too much of the two-tone coloring. It's all, you try and highlight. Like, you don't have a black and a light. You black one wall and then you light the other. So, I think you should try and move a little, not only materials, but the use of materials also has to move with the times. Okay. So I think that's what's lacking. Again, the living room, dining room, all the standalone furniture have been polished or really, and all the others are bare. And then, but there is nothing to go in between. You need something connecting the two. Connecting the two, some trims or something on the wall or a floor pattern. These are things that are completely missing
in this house. Shaina?
It's basically a monochromatic pattern what they have followed, other than the living room where they had a red wall, and that was a complete contrast to the blue that you had seen outside. So as soon as you enter the living room, you immediately see a red wall, and that to a very striking red. Other than that, I think only in the bedrooms we found the cabinets painted green, a lime green, and in one bedroom I think a little grey and blue. Other than that, the whole house was a monochromatic shade of an off-white color. The walls, the flooring, even the staircases, there was no demarcation between the riser and the tread. Like there has to be some demarcation, because in the end, when we look at it, when we place the furniture and all those accessories that we have in a house, we need to have some highlights here and there to have some focal points. So maybe after 2 or 3 years, the building materials may change, but when you are building your house, whatever is available in the market has to be put to maximum use. I mean, I don't mean to say that you have to use very expensive materials. You get, middle budgeted ones and low budget. Don't go in for the low budget ones. You can always go in for the middle budgeted ones. I particularly liked some areas of the house, that is specifically the cabinets in the bedrooms. They were very well done, very clean, no frills, nothing, and the paints given to that were really good. Other than that, I think all the other rooms in the house actually disappointed me.
Okay, Rameshji, what about you?
I think nothing, no homework was done on the flooring as such. No real thought has gone into the flooring. As she said, the staircases, no identification that staircase, tread and riser, some different color difference or some pattern or something like that to identify the steps, because it is dangerous at the night when you are coming down and identify the staircase. Same thing with the kitchen. I don't know why they have provided some wooden flooring in the kitchen, which normally
user friendly.
User friendly in the kitchen. And same thing like the flooring, I think no thought has gone into the flooring. And same thing, I didn't like the painting like in the kitchen, in the bedrooms. The colors are not matching with the sheets, and the wall is a different color and this is a different color. So it all doesn't blend in a nice way.
So no
I am disappointed with the interiors.
Okay, now let's find out how that reflects in the scoring. Rameshji, on 30?
18.
Shaina?
I have given a 20 for the cabinets.
For the cabinets. And Ruben?
18.
18 from you as well. Okay, so completely different from the outside to the inside. Let's see whether there is anything special that's mention worthy from our judges. Ruben?
It has to be the attempt made at the exterior of the house. The bold use of color and form is all that is there.
Okay, Shaina?
Me too. I like the elevation, the massing of the components and the colors. I like the colors also.
Same thing, the elevation. The magical illusions of the horizontal interplay of the wall. That's come out well.
Okay, so for special features, let's ask for the marks. Rameshji?
6.
6 on 10. Shaina?
5.
5. And finally, Ruben?
7 for the elevation.
7 for the elevation. Okay, so there you go. Now we need to find out whether the total adds up to a decent score for Panache. Ruben?
68.
Shaina?
67.
And finally, Rameshji?
67.
Okay, there you go. Another house done. A few more to come by, and then we will figure out which our top 5 homes are. And from the top 5, of course, the process again to narrow it down to 1. Which one will it be? Well, join me every night at 7:30 p.m. where our experts have their comments on the houses, and then you'll find out. It's good night and goodbye from all of us here on the show. Take care.